Hello everybody, and welcome to a little bit more Overwatch stuff. We gotta talk about Overwatch, because we're getting pretty close to the launch of the game. And honestly, there's quite a few things that we should probably mention about it. And this is pertinent information that we're going to talk about to anybody who's even just mildly passingly interested in Overwatch. This is like consumer advice to you guys, which is really important, because some people can't just go around throwing money at a game and maybe only play it for a couple hours. So this is going to be really good advice for you guys for Overwatch, or concerning Overwatch. So the first thing, which isn't necessarily pertinent to everybody, is that the closed beta is ending on the 25th, which is in like 5 days or 4 days or whatever of April. So that will be happening soon, and then the servers go down for like a week or two, and then or about a week, a little less than a week, and then the open beta starts for a little bit, and then after that the game is released. So that's kind of like the order of events that we're about to have. And if you weren't in the closed beta and you never got into the beta weekends, then you're going to have a chance to play real soon here. But the thing we need to talk about is not to pre-order Overwatch. There's literally legitimately no reason to. And you're just giving yourself a bit of a risk. Like, the game is good. I've mentioned this before, and some people think it's a little ridiculous, but it's true, which is that this is already more than likely going to be the game of the year for me, unless something crazy happens and there's like a really good game that comes out. Because honestly, just throwing it out there, like, this was going to be my game of the year last year. I've said this before, but because it didn't release, technically can't be my game of the year. So I pretty much know how much I'm going to enjoy this, just right off the bat. But even with that said, you shouldn't pre-order this game. So let's go through it a little bit. If you're not in the closed beta now, and even if you are, doesn't really matter, because here in a bit, the closed beta is going to be closed down, and you're not going to be able to play anything with it. So it's, that's not a concern. There's no more beta weekends, so you can't get into those. And really, the only thing that you're missing is the 1 day of early access to the open beta. That's all it is. It's 1 day. So there's no reason to pre-order. So there's 3 versions of the game. Let me get through that. There's the base game, which is $40, which you can only get on PC. But if you want to play on Xbox One or PS4, you have to get the Origins edition, which is obviously either for the consoles, or you can get the same thing for PC. And the Origins edition comes with a handful of skins. I have it up on my other screen. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 skins, and then you get some in-game goodies for the other games. So you get like Mercy Wings and Diablo, which are super cool. I put them on a couple of my characters today. It's really rad. There's the card back for Hearthstone, which is okay. There's Tracer, which you just get for Heroes of the Storm. There's the Winston pet, and then there's some portraits for StarCraft. So there's a few things that are like kind of cool in there, but none of that is pre-order stuff. That's all just, you get that in the Origins edition regardless. And it even says on their Q&A, a little section for the Origins edition, that if you buy it after release, you're getting that stuff. It's part of the game, the base game that you're getting with the Origins edition. So if you want to pay the $60 to get it, you can get all that extra stuff that was assumed to be a pre-order bonus for the Origins edition. Then, if you want to go real crazy, you can get the collector's edition, which comes with a Soldier 76 statue, which is pretty cool, but it's a little much. That being said, if you do pre-order the game, I think specifically all versions of the game. I don't think it's all versions of the game. There's nothing in particular there. If you do pre-order, what you do get, aside from the 1 day early access, is the Widowmaker skin, which it's not going to make a difference, because there's way cooler skins for Widowmaker in the game already, which you can get for free just by playing the game. So at the end of the day, again, you're not getting anything for pre-ordering aside from like minor stuff. So don't pre-order. And instead, wait until the open beta starts, which is, again, pretty soon. It is their Q&A says the 2nd
of May at 4 p.m. PDT, which is 11 p.m. UTC. However, that being said, the other stuff, the other branding does say May 3rd. So it's kind of, I don't know if that's just like a weird technicality that they have there, but it says May 2nd in their Q&A. So I would go with that as their development or their deployment schedule. And then that runs until the 9th, unless I'm mistaken. I'm pretty sure it runs until the 9th at 10 a.m. PDT again. So you have until from the 2nd until the 9th to play the game for free, unless you didn't pre-order, in which case you're starting on like the 4th or the 3rd or something like that. And you could just go play the game right off the bat. You're not having to worry about pre-ordering. You just can try the game for free, and that goes for PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. And again, you know, playing on the consoles is actually a legitimate. I mean, you're not getting the superior controls of the keyboard and mouse, as is the case with, you know, normal shooters on a PC. That being said, you do get the 60 frames per second still, according to reports about it. So, I mean, that's a benefit to the, you know, the console versions that you wouldn't normally have in a console version. So it's not bad. It's just not going to be as good as it is on PC, and there may not be as big of a player base. So either you can play it on PC for the open beta, or you can play it on the consoles for the open beta. And again, that runs from the 4th until the 9th. So you have a few days to actually get a feel for the game. Do you like it? Do you not like it? And in which case, if you do like it, you still don't have to pre-order because you're not getting anything. You could wait the couple days of launch, see how the servers hold up, if everything breaks or not. You know, games like this are notorious for, especially from Blizzard, let's be honest, for breaking like that first few hours of the game's launch and people not being able to play, especially when it's a multiplayer focused thing. So even then, there's no reason to pre-order. You can wait until the game is out because you're going to get all that Origins Edition stuff anyways. So I figured I would bring that up because it is fairly important and overlooked. There's literally no reason to pre-order Overwatch, even though I think that it's worth it, which is the reason why I've had mine since like November or something stupid. I don't remember when they put it up, but it's been a while. That being said, I did want to quickly talk about Tracer in Heroes of the Storm, because that was a thing that's added through this whole process. And this is like the first instance we have of Overwatch affecting their other games and their other IPs. And it's worked out really well. I think Tracer in Heroes of the Storm is really fun to play. And in fact, they did a really good job because she plays just like she does in Overwatch. But it's because of that she's slightly overpowered. And there's really no tweaking of numbers that they can do for that. It's because of just her gameplay. It's really hard to play against her. It's really hard to counter her if you're playing against a really skilled player. She has a high skill cap, but if you can reach that skill cap, you're going to destroy people with Tracer. She doesn't particularly do like an amazing amount of just instant damage, but she can burst you down suddenly if you're not expecting it, and if you're already kind of low, she can push you over the edge and kill you. It's crazy. That being said, again, I think that it's really cool that they added her in, because this is the first time, again, that their games are connecting here. This is the first time Overwatch is like really solidified as one of their IPs. But I don't like, as much as I like Tracer and everything, I don't want to play Tracer in Heroes of the Storm. I'd rather play a few of the other Overwatch characters. Like Reinhardt would be a good example. Like having his shield go up and like blocking damage, if they could code that right, it would be so cool. There's some characters that just wouldn't work, like Pharah. It would be really difficult for her to get into Heroes of the Storm because she's a character that inherently flies around, and that's hard to get that mechanic into a game like Heroes of the Storm. Or another good character would be like, actually any of the tanks in Overwatch are really good, like Zarya. Winston is another good one that I would like to play. But for the most part, there's also like the Widowmaker, so basically the two snipers, Widowmaker and Hanzo, and even a bit of Genji. I don't think they could capture that same feel of the character as they did with Tracer,
because in those cases, the skill of those characters in Overwatch comes from being able to actually aim properly with them. So you would have to have like a lot of their stuff either skill shotted or something like that. Either way, it's really cool. I really like it. They did a good job with it. But again, it's no reason to pre-order the game or to, you know, to try to get the Origins edition if you don't play Heroes of the Storm. And even if you do, again, she's okay, and you can buy her for gold in a couple days anyways if you really need to. Like, if you feel like she's an absolute necessary thing, you don't have to spend money on, especially $60 on Overwatch to get her into Heroes of the Storm. Anyways, those are just some thoughts, some parting thoughts about how the game has panned out. I think the competitive mode is definitely my preferred play mode now, unless I'm really just wanting to mess around on a character that I don't do well at. Like the snipers are actually good examples of that. I don't like that play style typically, so I'll hop in the quick match and try them out every now and then. So yeah, the competitive mode's really good. Their matchmaking can still use a bit of work, but I think that's just because they have a small pool to work from. And honestly, when you have a really small pool, and you're going to have a huge divergence in the skill level of players playing at any given time, which means you're going to have lower accuracy on your matchmaking. But they've done a good job on it, and they've worked on their netcode a bit, and it's just like everything's working really, really well for the game at the moment. And this game was ready to launch back in November, but the fact that they've put it off this long means that you guys are getting more like cosmetic stuff, and they've already said that this game will have free updates with more cosmetic stuff and potential other characters and whatnot, which is really cool. But it's taking the Diablo model, and right now Diablo gets its free updates like all the time, and they're just like constantly adding new stuff because they know that people have to buy the box game in order to get the game. But buying the box game isn't a risk because you know that you're going to be getting a certain level of quality. And that was the case with Reaper of Souls. Once they fixed how bad Diablo 3 was, and we've talked about that in great detail, but it's the same thing here with Overwatch. They're doing the exact same business model. You're going to get like all this other crazy stuff, and I think that's really smart. And I think Overwatch is actually going to take over as a pretty big esport if the community is there for it. I think it might even overtake a lot of the other shooters out there, or out there right now. It's a possibility. It's really cool. They put a lot of money into it, and this game is incredible for it. And I can't speak enough about it. Like, I'm always playing Overwatch any chance that I have like a moment to sit down and really like focus on a game. And it's just a lot of fun. I love it. But don't pre-order it. That's the moral of the story. And I figured I needed to get that information out there just so people aren't feeling that, you know, buyer's remorse for a game that you honestly shouldn't. But it's definitely a possibility when you're dealing with spending money. And I've always tried to give you guys the most, you know, buyer's guide advice, like for the cheap people, because I understand and I get that from that perspective. So hopefully you guys can enjoy the game as much as I do when it comes out and not really regret purchasing it at all. That being said, though, I want to go play more, but I actually have other stuff to do, and then I'm going to go play more. And when the game does launch, we'll likely be streaming it. And if you guys want to come and join us, because you guys will finally have your hands on it, we would gladly have people come and join us and play and everything. But we'll give more details to that when we get closer to launch. And with that, we shall see you guys next time.